Hey everyone, good Shabbos. The rabbi and the cantor should be here momentarily. Just wanted to get this going and get ready for them. I will be muting everyone when they come on so that there's no interruption in the service, and then we will open it up at the end of the service if there's any comments or questions. They should be on momentarily. I hope. Otherwise, I'm going to be sitting here talking to you all guys. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the service tonight. This is, again, relatively new technology as far as Zooming and live Facebook feed. So hopefully it all works out well and everybody enjoys Shabbat services. And we should see them connecting very shortly. I hope we're in South Florida. For those of you who are not in this area, Pompano Beach. Oh, there's a rabbi.
How you doing? Okay, we're good.
I
Hi,
hear you.
Shabbat Shalom. You cannot hear me? No, yes, no? No, that's bad. Okay, I'll do the mute and I'll do the unmute.
I got it. It's okay. Okay, it's fine.
Okay. All right, thank you all for coming to our Friday night service. Now we've made sort of a policy direction decision, and for safety's sake, we're going to be Zooming from our homes. The cantor should be along very soon. In the meantime, I think I can get things off to a song and with a song, and he will be probably doing a song when he arrives as well. Now, this particular one is a favorite of mine. It is Shlomo Carlebach, and I don't know if this is still the case, but in the past, what would happen is you've got two different kinds of Jewish music aficionados, and one of these is the Debbie Friedman group, and the other one is the Shlomo Carlebach group. Now, I am fully aware that Reb Shlomo, let him rest in peace, had some difficult times, and there were stories and so on and so forth, and some people have disavowed his music as a result. But I think the music should stand for itself or by itself, and it's like this. This particular niggin tune is V'chulam Makablim Alehem et Ol Malchut Shemayim Zeh Mizeh. This is taken from the section of the davening right before the Shema on weekday and Shabbat morning, and it's speaking about the angels in heaven. V'chulam Makablim Alehem et Ol Malchut Shemayim. All of the angels take one from the other the yoke, Y-O-K-E, of the kingdom of heaven. Again, one from the other. It goes like this. Esol malchut shamayim zeh mizeh v'chulam mekablim aleihem. Esol malchut shamayim zeh mizeh. And I have, years ago, I had a friend who was very fond of Debbie Friedman, and I, of course, was a chassid, a great lover of Reb Shlomo's nigunim, his tunes. And I said, why don't you like Reb Shlomo? And she said, because it always starts out low and then it gets high. Yeah, well, what can I tell you? Nobody's perfect. The second part goes like this. Da 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 da. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. That's not bad. That's not bad for Shlomo because it doesn't get that high. Sometimes it goes really up into the stratosphere. It's like the time I tried to do Kol Nidre, the way that Yossela Rosenblatt did. You cannot do the Kol Nidre the way Yossela Rosenblatt did. So we'll just try it this way. We'll do bye, bye, bye. Bye, 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 bye. You can close your eyes. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, 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 da, 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 da. Bye, bye, bye. Die, die, die. Die, da, da, die, 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 die. The second part. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Big finish. I like that one. I don't know if you like that one, but it's good. It gets you into the right prayerful state. All right, I'm sitting here, as they say, allein via Stein. Anybody know what that is? That's
Nein, du bist nicht kein allein.
okay. Good. I am no longer allein. Chazan, if you want. Oh, good. You're tilting. Now you want to tilt the other way.
Ya ilai, 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 ya ilai, 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 ilai. Ya ilai, ya ilai, ilai, ya ilai, ilai, ilai. Inemato fumanai, shevet achim gam yachad. Inemato fumanai, shevet achim gam yachad. Inemato shevet achim gam yachad. Inemato shevet achim gam yachad. Ay, di 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 dai, di 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 dai, 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 ay, di 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 dai, ay, di 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 dai, di 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 dai, 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 ay, di di dai, di 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 dai. Ay, dai, 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 ay, dai, 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 ay, di 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 dai, di 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 dai. Ay, dai, 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 ay, dai, 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 ay, dai, di, 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 dai.
All right.
Let's welcome the angels.
Sorry, what?
Let's welcome the angels.
Yes, welcoming the angels. First, we look for the sitter. Here is the sitter. If you have
Number
the sitter,
13.
page 13. Very nice.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Yasharet, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Abraham, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachim Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Abraham, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Abraham, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yedi nefesh 14. Abarach Shabbat Meshulam El Ritzonah Yadot Tzadach Kemo Ayah Yishachar Uladarash Yerachlo Yedidah Minofetzo Echulta Yala la 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 yala la 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 yala la 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 la
All right, following Yedid Nefesh, going to do some of the, okay,
Page 15.
15, got it.
Lejunera, nena, lejunera, nena, lejunera, nena, Adonai. Lejunera, nena, lejunera, nena, lejunera, nena, Adonai. Maria, lechuri, sheinu, mekalma, fana, betola. Maria, lechuri, sheinu, Vismiro Nariato, Lejunera, nena, lejunera, nena, lejunera, nena, Adonai. Lejunera, nena, lejunera, nena, lejunera, nena, Adonai. Give me Adonai, melech Adonai, Cholano. Arvaim Shanakut Bedorva Ametoi Devave Metoyado Derakai Asher Nishmati Beapi Yevod El Meluchati.
All right, these, as I've said before, the 6 Psalms alluding to the 6 days of creation, and of course on the 7th day, Hashem Shabbat v'nafash. He rested and he resouled himself.
Okay, on page 16, the last 4 lines. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim.
Hashamayim.
Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. V'tagirare. Yiramayam, 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 Ubelom. Yiramayam, 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 Ubelom. Yahadu Saleh Kol Asher Lo Atziranu Kol Atziyad Libnei Adonai Kiba Kiba Lishpotare Lishpote Betzedek Ve'anim Ve'emunato.
All right, continuing now.
It might be nice to read something.
Yeah, that was Cantor feedback.
Okay.
Yes.
So there is a beautiful psalm that is the Psalm 18. On the Psalm 18, in the second part of the psalm is a very nice, has a very nice music. So I will sing it. I will sing it for you, and you're gonna try to learn during these weeks. Yeah, in the page 16, page 18. Sorry, just in the middle. Sandrul Adonai Bechinor, Bechinor Bekol Zibra. Machatotrot v'kol shofar, haru lipnei hamelech Adonai, ira v'yamum lo, tevel וישמע הערות עמך וכעם יחד ערים ילדנו אדוני קימה לשפוט הארץ ישפוט תמר בצדק בעמים במישרים
Just trying to
הנה בים ומלואו דבר ויושבי בה נערות עמך וכעם יחד ערים ילדנו.
Okay, I'll have it done by next week. Yud Chet,
Okay.
Psalm 18. Yeah. I'll listen to the tape. Okay. All right. That was very nice. I'm sorry?
Lechaloliven.
Yes, L'chadodi, and why not? Page 21 is the L'chadodi. We're talking 16th century. Just like that.
לחנוני קטקלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לחנוני קטקלה, בני שבת נקבלה, שמור וספור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד שמו אחד.
Shemo tiferet
וליתנה
Lecha
לחודי לקראת כלה שבת לחודי לקראת כלה שבת לקראת לקראת שבת לכוננך כולם ברכה, והראש מכם לסופה, סוף מעשה ומחשבה תחילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשמת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ושבת לקבלה, יקדש מלך ילמדוך, ומצאים כוחך, והמלך שהם מקבך, ויקמול עלייך חמלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ושבת לקבלה, לחדודי לקראת כלה, ושבת לקבלה. והיו לבשיסה שוסייך, ורחקו כל במלאך, יהסיס עלייך אלוהי, יבסוס קטן הקהלה. ימינו שמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני את ההריצי, על יד ישפן פרתי, ונשמחה ונהילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ושבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, ושבת לקבלה.
Okay, now imagine I'm getting up and facing the east. Now we have to sing.
גם בשמחה ובצהולה, תוכמו נעשה גאולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי, לך
Yasher Koach. I just, yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, but when I was a student rabbi, every Shabbat I did every single stanza of the Chadodi, and you know when you start out in a position, they're very nice to you. Everybody wants to make a good impression. So it was easily 3 weeks before they got up the nerve to come to me and said, Rabbi, you don't have to do every single stanza. Okay, I'm sorry. Page 23, Ms. Morshir.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולשמח לשמך עליון, ולשמח לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונה קרא אלוהים.
It's a very nice little psalm. I'm going to do a few. If you have your Siddur with you, and I didn't grow up with a Siddur, I grew up with a Siddur. So we're going to read the last 2 quartets, okay, groups of 4 lines. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow mighty like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of our God. They shall bear fruit even in old age. They shall be ever fresh and fragrant, to proclaim Adonai is just, my rock in whom there is no flaw. Right, we'll continue with the Baruch Hu, which is on page 28.
28.
Okay.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai Amborach Liolam Vahed.
Baruch Adonai המבורך. לעולם ועד.
Amen. Okay. Very nice little reading. And in terms of bad times, I mean, thank God, people should be well. But I'm going to do that reading at the bottom right of 29. Your love has embraced us always in wilderness and promised land, in good times and in bad. Night and day, your Torah sustains us, reviving the spirit, delighting the heart, informing the soul, opening the eyes, granting us a glimpse of eternity. Because of your love, we shall embrace Torah night and day in devotion and delight. Beloved are you, Adonai, whose Torah reflects your love. Amen.
אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, ברי ברמי.
Amen. All right, before we do, actually, there's another page. Chazan will do page 29. There, that's only fair.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, ושבתנו ובקומנו, ועשיית בחוקך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך, לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהיה יומם בלילה. יעבדך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Amen. All right, before we do the Shema, I'm going to offer my little drash. The Torah portion for this Shabbat is Tazria Matzorah. Tazria Matzorah is leprosy. And the point is that what we today call leprosy was not leprosy in ancient times. You have to keep in mind they're out in the wilderness. There's nothing to protect them from mold. And frankly, it could be psoriasis, it could be a skin condition, it could be just a really bad rash, it could be irritation. And frankly, I could not personally have participated in the wilderness sojourn because I'm a very delicate fellow, and I can't walk long distances in a pair of Birkenstocks. But if leprosy did break out, and you have to keep in mind also that leprosy is not always a skin condition. In the Torah, they refer to it as if leprosy gets into the wall of your home. And I'm thinking, well, Jack, you got to fumigate because you have very bad air circulation. And clearly the moisture is collecting in one of your walls and causing difficulties. Plus, everything was organic. It was mud, it was brick. The bricks were made of mud. The mud was made of mud. So there were plenty of places for some sort of mold to start, even if it didn't emerge the first time. But they didn't know what to call it. So they called it sara'at. And tazriya means somebody who's a leper. Mitzorah is somewhat different. The rabbis could not leave this one alone because for them, it wasn't just a skin condition. It was lashon hara. It was motzi shem ra, one who brings forth evil talk. And they say that what is the dust? The dust of evil talk. If you stand there and someone else is putting down a third person and you don't say anything, you just stand there and listen, you are also, frankly, guilty of the sin of tzarat, of motzi shem ra, of bringing forth an evil name. Because that was the only thing they had, the only way they had of explaining this. If somebody got really covered with scales or some other terrible outbreak of psoriasis, they would be shunned from the community. And there were a choice of things that could happen to them. They would either go into a tent on the outskirts of the camp so that they wouldn't be contagious, or they could possibly be allowed to wander around in the classic fashion, as you may have seen in the movies, wearing a cloak and a hood that covered their face, and they would have to have a bell and ring the bell, Tameh, Tameh, unclean, unclean. So the rabbis, as I say, were fairly concerned about this sort of thing. But sadly, what goes around comes around. And we are living in an age of tsarat once again, leprosy. What sort of leprosy? Well, you know and I know. If you go to the supermarket, gotta wear a mask. If you walk on the street, gotta wear a mask. Is it comfortable? No. Will it save your life? Yes. And what else? As you may have read, this deadly, horrible virus, what are the chief weapons we have against it? Soap and water, washing your hands. And that will get rid, God willing, of the germ, the virus that may be clinging to your skin. So what is the point here? Well, the Shalach, who is, I believe, 18th century, gives this particular phrase a different interpretation. Tameh, tameh, when someone is out there and they have, God forbid, leprosy, and they're calling it out in the street, there's also the phenomenon of a person who has a character defect. Maybe he gossips, maybe he's greedy, maybe he eats too much, even though he knows it's no good for him. Maybe he's a backbiter of some kind. But the person is, he calls out his own defect when he talks about other people. And you know there are people like this, where they go pointing fingers at other people. The other people are probably innocent. But it was the Baal Shem Tov, the master of the good name, who founded Hasidism, and who said, one who is unclean calls everyone else unclean. It's a different way of saying, well, the sin, the fault is not mine. Clearly it was caused by someone else, even though this is not true. And because everyone finds other people to be a mirror, that's why he reflects in other people. The story is told of the Baal Shem Tov, that he would go from town to town visiting his people. He loved all human beings. And of course, he was working with Jews to bring them back to the faith. And he developed a crowd of disciples during his journeys. And one day they came to a town which was unusual. They had the biggest synagogue, the biggest shul in the area. And they said, Rebbe, we'd be so honored if you would daven with us. And not daven for us, daven with us, because in a traditional setting, you don't really need the rabbi to conduct services. I mean, thank God, I will be happy to conduct services anywhere and anywhere, especially for my beloved congregation. But in a traditional synagogue, you have a lot of balabatim, a lot of civilians, a lot of ordinary folk who are able to conduct services. So they take him to the door of the shul, and it's a big, magnificent door. It's got wooden fittings and brass and gold and all sorts of things. And he stands there in the doorway of the shul, and they stop the davening for him. And he looks in and he looks around and he looks from side to side. And he says, I can't go in. You say, Rebbe, go. There's plenty of room. And he says, no. The people in this congregation, when they daven, they do not have their hearts set on their davening. They are not familiar with that famous saying that is very often put in the front of the shul, Da lifnei mi ata omed, know before whom you stand. When they pray, these people, their prayers go up to the ceiling, bounce off, and they lie on the floor in a giant invisible heap. If they had kavana, if they had intention, then their prayers would go up to the Kisei HaRachamim immediately, to the throne of mercy. But they do not, and so the prayers lie there on the floor. It is the same thing with the human being, with the tsarat, with the metzora, who pins his faults on other people. He refuses to take the blame. And when they call him out on it, he says, well, I don't know this one, and so on and so forth. So in this particular instance, this metzora spoke very disparagingly of a great tzaddik, a great righteous person. And when they called him out on it, they said, if you disparage a tzaddik, a righteous person, it's the same as violating Shabbos. If you cast aspersions on the honor of a Torah scholar. Some people are very critical of other people, other people's sins and they're backsliding and things like that. In this regard, you don't make other people's business your business. You have simply got to accept human beings and understand they may change, but you certainly don't blame them for your own shortcomings. You were supposed to work on your own failings. You're supposed to try to be the best Ben Adam that you possibly can. Because it's one thing to be religious. It's one thing to daven. It's one thing even to give tzedakah. And we do hope that people will give tzedakah. But if you go around pointing fingers, don't be surprised to find them pointed at you. No? No. Amen. Now we'll do the Shema. Chazan is very polite and compassionate indeed. I'm going to let him do Shema, okay, because it's a nice prayer and I think he knows it. Page 30, okay? Cover the eyes. Shema. Oh, you don't have any vocals. You have to put on the microphone. You have to click on your microphone. It's on the lower left. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Now you would have to do it again. It happens. I don't think Moshe Rabbeinu had this problem. Okay.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kibud Malkuto Leolam.
Right.
Ve'afta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha ve'ayu habanim ha'ele asher anochi metzavcha hayom al levavecha ושמרת בלעדיך ודיברת בה בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרת מאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבת על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
All right, we'll do silently the paragraph, the middle paragraph on 30, and the tzitzit paragraph on 31.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, ואתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמן.
Continuing on page 31.
32.
32.
כל אזותיך ימננו, כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו, בין זולתו, ואנחנו ישראל, עמו. In the middle of the page, we sing Micha Mocha. Yalai la 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 la, yalai la la la, yalai la 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 la, yalai la la, yalai la la la, yalai la la la, yalai la la la, Micha Mocha, יהי כמוך נאמר בקודש, לא ראיתי לא תופל, לא ראיתי לא תופל.
All right, on the top left of 33, as always, we have the paragraph that we dedicate to the folks needing Refu'ahShelemah, quick and speedy recovery, thinking about all the victims of this terrible virus, as well as their families, and just thinking about the way in which this malignant organism has upset people's lives the world over, and praying for Refu'ahShelemah and a quick end to it, which we don't know when that's going to happen. In the meantime, think about the folks you know who are not well. Keep their names in mind, Hebrew names, English names. I always say God knows who they are. We'll read the English paragraph. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praised you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, over Jerusalem and the entire world. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Shemo,
Orei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol hamo Yisroel, v'al Yerushalayim, v'al kol haolam kulo. Amen. Continuing on 34.
וישמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לתורת ברית עולם. וישמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לתורת ברית עולם. והנה אומר בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני, את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, ועשה בית השבת, ותורתם בראיתו עולם.
And the Chatzi Kaddish, the half Kaddish at the bottom of 34.
עניין ויתקדש שם רבה,
Amen.
ועל מה דיברה חילותי וימליך מלכותי, וחיי כל וביומך, וחיי לכל בית ישראל, הגלמה, הגלמה,
Uvisman
karit,
Amen.
amen. Yeshua Bamora, Maya, Yibarak, Yibarak, Vishtabak, Vekipar, Vitroma, Vitras, Vitar, Vitar, ואלה מכל ברכתה ושנינתה, ושמחה ואמרו אמן.
All right, we will do the Amidah. Beginning on 35b and going to page 38. What I wanted to do is, while you're doing the silent prayer, why don't you do the silent prayer first, and then I'll give a little drash on one of the Keta'im, one of the paragraphs, the stanzas of the Tefillah. Okay?
Yalla la 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 yazoda. Yalla la 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 sfatai timla tifta. Yalla la 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 ufi yagi. Ufi yagi tegilatecha. Yalla la 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 yadona. Yalla la 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 sfatai tifta. Yalla la 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 yufi yagi. Ufi yagi tegilatecha.
I'm just going to focus on the paragraph, the fourth paragraph on page 36. Refu'ahShelemah Elokeinu b'yamcha Yisrael v'tfilatam, v'yoshevet avodah ledir beitecha, u'tfilatam b'yavad tegaber b'ratzon v'tiyu ratzon tovin avodat Yisrael mecha. Desire, Lord our God, the people of Israel and their prayers, and return the service to your chosen home, that is the holy temple, and their prayers in love receive willingly. And may your will always be to desire the service of the people of Israel, your people. That particular paragraph has been edited because in the Orthodox practice, they include the word V'ishei Yisroel, meaning the fires of Israel. That, and this, of course, is not a big controversy, but a point of disagreement between the Orthodox and everyone else, because they want, when Mashiach comes, the sacrificial system to be restored to exactly the way it was. But we know that by the time the second temple came along, prayers were already beginning to be instituted. So if you want sacrifices, that would be traditional. If you want non-sacrifices and prayers, that would be more left-wing.
Oh, say shalom bimroma. Uyase shalom aleinu ve'ale kol Israel ve'imru amen. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
אמרו אמן. Okay. Continuing on page 48 with the full Kaddish, 48.
יתגדל ויתקדש שם רבה, יעלמה נברק תודה ואמליק מלכותו וחיי כל וימי כל וחיי לכל ישראל. בעלה ותמגלים האמרו, יש בעירה ונברה, לעולם לעולם.
יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ודרום ונרסה ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמו לקודשה.
ברכו.
ואלה מן כל ברכתה ושיבתה ושבחתה ונקמתה מן המלמלים אמרו.
אמן.
יתקבל אצלו כל המלכות לכל ישראל, כדמה ועוד נשמע ימים אמרו.
אמן.
יגיש למראה למי שמיה וחיים עלינו על כל ישראל ואמרו.
אמן.
עושה שלום ממרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
All right, that was the full Kaddish, signifying the conclusion of a major part of the service. We are not, are we Kiddush? Are we Kiddishing? Are you Kiddishing? We're not Kiddishing? All right, forgive us, we have no wine. Page 51, we have the Aleinu, 51.
עלינו לשבח לדור הכל, לתת גדולה יוצא בראשית. שלום עשנו קרייי ארצות, ולא שמענו משפחות אדם, שלא שמנו להם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים וארץ, ומשל יקרו בשמיים עמה, ושכינתו אלוהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אלוהינו וחסדתו, נתתו בתורתו, וידעת היום וידעת היום שבו קל כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, השמיים ועימה, ועל הארץ ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ויאמרו יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
All right, I'm going to, this is not something I generally do. Here we go. But I'm going to try to do the Mourner's Kaddish standing, which is a little tricky because I'm holding the camera. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, amen. Yalma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yimechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. V'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach li'olam v'le'olam. Yivarach v'yishabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu. The Elam and Kol Birchata v'Shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, ta'amiran bi'alma v'yimru amen.
Amen.
Hey shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim alinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen.
Amen.
Ose shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, alinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru amen.
Amen.
All right, please be seated. Oops. This is known as trying to get the camera to hang on. Okay, well, it's not going to work. I don't know what I did to it. Oh, goodness. Here we go. Oh, wait, I know what to do. Here we go. Okay, whoops, I think we're okay. All right, we're back. I don't really have any announcements. The only thing I would say is that my Shabbat morning class has moved itself to Fridays. Fridays at 2 o'clock. Today we did Abraham Joshua Heschel. And it was a lecture on my part. There's nothing wrong with that. You know me, I can talk till the cows come home. But I think it would be so much more fun if folks would come. We're Zooming this time, thanks to the good offices of our own technical production manager, Doreen. And if you get give and take, that's the way to do that. So I'm doing that on Fridays at 2. So be with us, and I'm sure sometime during the week I will figure out. I'm down to a choice between 2 unnamed, hello, sweetie, thinkers, and that will be a good thing. Number 1. Also on Wednesdays at 4:30. Wednesdays at 4:30 we do Hebrew. We'll continue doing phrases. And 7 o'clock is current events. And you know, and I know there are a lot of current events these days. So that takes care of that. Okay, I think Cantor's going to be offering a class as well, but he'll tell you about that. And we have the beauteous Ms. Galia with us tonight as our guest Adon Olam singer. Hey, Gali, how you doing? That's nice. When she looks, okay.
Okay.
All right.
So my class is going to be on Thursdays. It's not a class, it's a group of study. It's a study group about the parasha, the Torah portion of the week. We were 4. I don't know how many we will be this time, but it's a fun parasha, the portion club. Yes, that we can be together and we share opinions. Yes, it's
Good,
not a formal class.
Yes.
We share opinions. Okay, so Adon Olam on page number 54.
54.
Adon Olam asher malach b'kerem kol yitzir nivra le'et nasa v'chetzo kol melech shemo nikra Adon Olam v'yachare yikrot hakol Adon Olam והוא היה, והוא יהיה לתפארת העולם, והוא אחד, וישני, וישילו להגבירת העולם, ולי ראשית, ולי ראשית,
Adon Olam asher malach b'kerem kol yitzir nivra yesh naso b'chetzo kol azayin melech shemo nikra Adon v'chayim Tzur heavenly makes Adon Olam v'u Umana Slino,
Minat Kufim Yom Grad Olam, Beya Ado, Akid Rohi, Shane Adon Olam, Beim Rohi, Gevi Adon
Olam asher malach b'kerem kol yesh naso v'chetzo kol Azaimelech Shemone Kro Adon.
Yay! Yes, it was great. I followed
Excellent.
Cantor, I followed Stewart. I'm a great follower. Okay, we're going to do the closing. Yes, Dina, your hand is up. You have a question?
No.
Okay, very good.
That's applause.
It's
Okay.
applause, yay.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, very nice. Oh, everybody's getting fancy schmancy.
Yeah.
Any comments? Any questions?
Yes, your Hebrew class is at 4 o'clock, by the way, not 4:30.
Right. Yeah, so don't come at 4:30 because it'll
I'll
be
post it on,
half time.
I'll
Thank
post it on
you.
the temple's homepage,
You're great.
Okay.
Wonderful.
okay? And Cantor, what time is your Torah study gonna be?
It's going to be on Thursday at 10:30 Jewish time.
Could be 10:30, could be 10:45.
Come in 10:35 around. Yeah, you'll be around.
Okay,
Okay,
Okay.
so any comments? Thank you so much for being here. And as we say, Kane Yerbu, try to look like more people. Okay.
Facebook, they're on Facebook.
Oh,
Nice.
good. Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
it was a good crowd on Facebook. That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. I want to
Okay.
know who was Fire and who was Maria?
Well, Fire's not coming back again. She wasn't very nice.
Oh, I got that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, she said something nasty. I had a block. That's why I muted everybody and took their videos off when they come in. We're gonna start that way from now on. 'Cause some
Good.
people
Very good.
are anti-Semitic, I think.
Really? Are there anti-Semites? I have no-
Rise, nah.
Nah. Nah.
Yeah, you
All
never
right, I
yell
wanna-
fire in the middle of a room.
Yeah. Who's Fire? Who was
That's the
Fire?
one that was not. I'll show you later when we talk afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Okay, soon.
All right. Yes. Yes. Eish Boer.
Okay.
I want to thank Doreen for being our video bouncer.
There you go. Yay.
Okay. All right. We're doing a closing benediction, I think.
Yeah, Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha,
And the Lord bless
Yered
you.
Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka,
Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
The Lord turn his face unto you and grant you peace. Amen.
Man.
You
Amen.
and everybody
Shabbos, everybody.
stay well.
Gesund, a good Shabbos.
Yes.
Monday morning, Minion. Monday morning, Minion, 7:30.
Monday morning.
Yeah, 7:30.
Yeah.
In Spanish we say al que madruga Dios ayuda. That means to the one who wake up early,
Ah.
God helps more.
There you
Oh,
go.
that's very nice. Because in yeshiva, they would say, do you want to daven? And I would say, oh, I davened at the Mir Yeshiva by Mir. So, never mind. It's all right.
Bye bye.
7
Good night,
o'clock.
everybody.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Be well.
Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom. Take